Let me just look at it. You know the cliche of Scotland that it rains all the time? Honestly, it doesn't. I spend a lot of time here, and genuinely it doesn't. I was in Glasgow yesterday, and it was beaming. It was fantastic on my drive up. It was fantastic. But as soon as you get a car out, the heavens open. You're kidding me? Good morning from the Ferrari F12 TDF, or what I used to say is, welcome back to the TDF. And then I drop several cogs and give it full 9,000 RPM. However, today we're in Scotland and it's absolutely tipping it down. So I've got it in wet mode, which is mildly deflating. However, it does probably show the breadth of ability of this car. That on the one hand, you can control all 771 naturally aspirated V12 Ferrari horsepower, or you can put it into race, which still to this day, my favourite calibration of any twin clutch box is the TDF in race mode. And the reason being is that in sport mode, it changes gear just seamlessly and super fast, like you would expect from a twin clutch box in something like a Porsche GT3. But in race mode, the calibration almost blends the feeling of a single clutch with the speed of a twin clutch, and you get the most monumentally positive actuation of gears. It's so cool. However, I won't be doing that today because traction is suboptimal. Might just be able to see the Black Series over there. Look, if it wasn't for all the precipitation on the windscreen, what a machine that thing is. So why am I in this car in the wet, might you ask? Well, we are on our way to a brand new car event up in Scotland called Cars and Cameras. Lately, I've been going to car events and I've kicked myself for not coming up with the concept myself, because I was at Cars and Copters the other day. That was incredible. Literally 50 helicopters coming out of the sky, landing in a field punctuated by supercars parked all around them. That was incredible. And that event raised over £100,000 for charity. Today, it's our friend Callum's event, and it's the very first time that he's run it, and it's appropriately named Cars and Cameras because it's organised by Callum, who is a fantastic photographer, and a group of his friends. And we're taking down Darren's TDF, which I'm in right now, Darren's Black Series, and Nico's joining us in something, but he's still in bed, so I don't know what he's bringing. Hopefully it's something yellow, because both Darren and I are each in yellow cars. So we're going to go and fill up in typical fashion. Both the Black Series and the TDF are currently operating on fumes. We're going to fill up the cars. I'm going to fill up myself with caffeine, and then my delivery of pieces to camera might have slightly more energy. He's out of bed. What took you so long?
Yeah, cause I don't know. I'm still sleeping, I think.
Oh, what we got here? Right, if you weren't awake before, you are now. Crikey, that thing is loud. Like straight. But you're uninvited because you don't have a yellow car. Not a bad lineup, that is it? Hey?
Do they sell coats here, do you think?
Coats? Have you not got one?
No.
Oh, Christ. Well prepared. So just as a quick spot of context, that number plate that Nico has put on my previous GT3 is interesting. V12 SFT. Now, the significance of that number plate, he bought it at an auction last week, and it was sold by Ferrari North Europe, as they were sort of donating number plates to a charity auction. And V12 SFT is significant because it was the plate that Ferrari UK put on their 812 Superfast press car, hence SFT, an abbreviation for super fast. So we kicked you out of bed this morning.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, to be fair, the car gathering's really good. The weather gathering is suboptimal, isn't it?
I mean, what do you expect in Scotland?
Look at this, man. Look at the cars.
People are still showing
Some
up.
serious kits. Look at this. This is one of the earliest Revueltos in the UK. I think, and I know I say this plenty, but the cameras definitely do not do these things justice. I particularly enjoy the exposed engine bay here. This very Bugatti Veyron-esque, no?
Incredible, man.
What do you think, dude?
Photos don't do justice.
amazing thing. Look at the size of the flipping wheels on it.
There's a caution sign. Caution.
High temperature.
Caution, incredibly hot situation here. So Josh was telling me that as this car is literally warming up, I think he's done about 1,000 miles on it now. He says the pops and bangs are naturally improving on it, and it's beginning to sound better. That's something I've not actually heard of in the past, is a car, well, a modern car, improving with age.
No.
Aging like a fine wine. The more miles you do, the better it sounds. It's probably cool.
It is genuinely absolutely expensive.
I just think the sculpture of it is magnificent.
Last year,
This green's amazing.
Last year, Goodwood I saw it for the first time. I was like, whatever.
And now you've seen it,
and I'm like,
special.
yeah, special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it revs to 9.5 as well, which for a
That is
V12 is pretty cool. It's the only NA V12 I can think that's rear mid-engine with a twin clutch box that's under £1 million.
Yeah.
You might argue that the closest thing to that, sans the four-wheel drive, is a La Ferrari, because that is a hybrid rear-engine twin clutch V12, which is pretty nuts, really. So. Okay, so look, that ended up being a little bit short-lived because it was, well, it was mostly rained off, but great cars. And I think as a format, it's going to come together long term, because the concept of setting up an event that is in favor of photography generally. So instead of just like parking cars up randomly in a car park, the concept behind it is great. Just sadly, the day was absolutely dripping. So I look forward to seeing how these guys evolve it, but there's definitely something in it. I don't know what bridge this is, but it's very cool. Anyone from Dundee, I think we're entering from the other side, but hell of a view. I have to say, however, as cheesy as it might be that we're all in a yellow car, there's something quite cool about it, particularly on this like very dull day. SLS Black Series, that's a right-hand drive Black Series as well, by the way, which are rocking horse rare. Nico's in the 992 GT3, and to be in a TDF, also in a triple layer yellow. Pretty special lineup. I think I've figured out why this thing takes so long to close.
Why?
To give you a chance to get out while I lock you in. It's awesome, man. It's the first time we've been up here in the morning, actually. Some hell of a view. Look at this. Gherkin. If you just look right over that roofline there, you just see the shard. Look, yeah, there. There, I promise you it's there. Yeah, we just booked this. Actually, Dylan on our team booked it. Last year, the accommodation was suboptimal, is what I would say. That's what I'd say. And so we found this place, turned up at the end of the day. As Airbnbs are, there's this sort of like keypad on the wall, and you have to scroll through a set of numbers, and a key drops out, and you never know what's behind the door when someone else has booked it for you. And it turns out it was awesome. It's like a 3-story townhouse, brand new, refurbished, a massive improvement. And there's this awesome sort of roof trapdoor that looks like it was engineered by Koenigsegg. It's amazing. The only thing is, it takes about half an hour for it to open and close. Look, there's this sort of there's this switch here, and it takes forever. Look. I mean, you're not locking anyone out in a hurry, that's for sure. Also, if you take your finger off, it stops. I guess it's a safety thing. It goes again. Amazing feature, though. I do enjoy being in London, man. It's funny. When I used to live here, I remember moving out. I remember moving out of London, and the week that we moved out, thinking you were leaving like the center of the universe, and you had like massive FOMO.
Yeah.
And now, well, it only took me like a few weeks to get over that. But now when I come in, I enjoy London for the highlights. It's like living a highlight reel and then out again, right? Because the freedom of movement isn't always the best. Like getting around town takes forever. But when I do come in, every time I'm like, this is a cool city, man. Yeah, it's good. Check out this new Google Maps update. It's ridiculous. I mean, I don't know how do you think they create that? Like, how do they make that a 3D moving interactive model? Imagine the data points to create that. crazy.
Giant
Look at
LiDAR
that.
satellite.
It is. I mean, it's you're flying through London in real time just to get you to a smoothie.
It's wild.
You ready? Right, from a point of view of contextualizing time, and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, 1 year exactly to the day here, we were stood with DDE, just ahead of Gumball. We just had the M3 smashed into, and my passport was stolen and everything I own. And it's 1 year to the day that kickstarted the first episode of the Uncut channel. Because that was like, okay, this is a good drama, why don't we roll into it?
Yeah,
and that was kind of how it went.
We walked over to the NCP, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Bloody nightmare. Look at that. You go a long way in that. It's so cool. Guys, is it okay if we open the door on this? Or is it locked? I just haven't tried it yet. I just didn't want to just jump in it. Oh, look at that. Behold. Has this been entirely retrimmed?
Yeah, we're very early in the process of research. V12 M120 S-Class.
Okay.
The rest of the story is
It's
at
currently
some
unknown.
point it was retrimmed and converted to an estate, and we have a couple of lead theories.
So it's a sort of shooting brake S600. That's pretty wild. The interior that drew me to it was this sort of glowing orb of emerald inside, and I thought, let's go and check this thing out. How did you find it? How did you come about it? I mean, it's not the sort of thing that just ends up.
Yeah, it was passed on to us by a well-known client with a collection of eclectic cars.
Yes.
And, you know, it's arrived and is presented here before we know the full story.
Sure.
But, you know, it's
just brilliant.
You're not going to see.
You're not going to
one,
see.
and that's
No,
that's
you're
the best
not.
bit about it.
Very cool. Wow. It's got quite a Miami-esque feel to it. I'm not sure I can pull that off in the countryside of the UK, but it's cool. Left-hand drive too.
Great number plate.
Unique, isn't it?
Is that the real number plate?
This retrim looks very recent.
It does look very fresh.
It does look very fresh.
It does look a lot like Desenio.
It does. Yeah.
Leather.
It does. Yeah.
It is emerald green, which was a Desenio colour at the time. So a fascinating mystery.
It really is. Wow. I'd love to know the strikes me whoever commissioned something like this would be an interesting character.
Even though it's done more than 100,000.
Has it really? Oh, I expected you to say it was like locked away and it was, a pristine build. Wow, what a thing. So once you found out more, would you be sharing
It will then, of
more
course,
about
go
it?
to market. The story will come out.
Brilliant.
Yes, but,
I look forward to hearing more about that. Brilliant. Listen, thanks for showing me around. I appreciate that. Nice, thank you. Likewise. James, James, yeah. Thank you.
they're soft closed doors as well.
You're kidding?
No way.
Really?
How good is that? It has a long wheelbase W140 S-Class chassis number, so
Right.
it's long and short wheelbase.
Yes.
But after that, any car that we've known of, because there were period conversions, they started life as saloons with the same run of chassis numbers
Right.
as well.
Sure.
This car shares 16 of its 17 digits. With those cars, the only different one is left and right-hand drive. So
Okay.
we're confident on the donor car. It's
Sure.
an M120
Yes.
Mercedes V12.
If this thing could talk, I've got a feeling it's got some stories.
To be joined by Koenigsegg London at the main stage. Come and have a look at this new motor car. We'll tell you all about it in a minute. But Koenigsegg London are here. They are great friends of the London Concourse and come up to the stage with something exciting each year. So delighted that Adam Nardoni and Tom Pagliaro are here to talk about this. And this is the Koenigsegg Jesko.
I mean, compared to the Regera that we brought here last year, this is actually quite a bit more analogue. So this is a 5-litre V8 twin turbo, producing just under 1,300 horsepower on normal 95 octane fuel, and then we'll come on to the biofuel thing in a minute.
E5.
So E5, and then E85 capable of producing something like about 1,600 horsepower, which is a significant jump. I mean, 1,300 horsepower in this thing is no slouch. But I'm told by a Koenigsegg test driver that if you jumped out of the car having driven it with 1,600 horsepower on E85 compared to driving it 1,300 horsepower on standard fuel, it would feel like you were towing a caravan. Which, having experienced this thing on the runway a couple of weeks ago at another event, I mean, it's a significant step up in terms of performance.
Yeah, so Koenigsegg have used biofuel for quite a few years now actually. It just runs off flex fuel sensors, so the ECU can adjust the mixture as it needs to do, so you don't even have to have a whole tank of the 85. There's no buttons to press, it's just senses straight away. Yeah, exactly.
You like it, which is great.
Compared to many other modern supercars, not to name any, but they're all beautiful, they're all wonderful, and we're glad to have them all here. But there's something about the proportions of this, and the Lotus, I guess. There's just overall slightly smaller, and feel like for British driving, they'll probably be a bit more manageable on country lanes and things.
5 litre V8 twin turbo, 9-speed gearbox, which is Koenigsegg's own.
That's new to this, the 9-speed, is it called a light speed gearbox?
Yeah, LST, yes. LST. So if you come around the back, you can see the size of it.
Could we
it's tiny.
Turn the speaker? Thank you.
This gearbox is just here, literally sits within the circumference of the rear wheels, weighing just 70 kilos.
Do you allow people to go back and constantly upgrade their cars? Because with Koenigsegg, obviously they are constantly evolving and constantly, you know, at the very forefront of technological advancement. So if I buy this and in 5 years' time there's a 10-speed gearbox or there's some new features, is that part of the Koenigsegg ethos?
It has been a thing in the past. There's always potential for things like that to happen. Even as the cars are getting produced, if on the production line they find something that works better, that will then get pushed out to the cars that are already on the field. And then as a dealer we will then upgrade that car.
You were saying that things have moved on significantly since we last saw you. Koenigsegg London hadn't opened its showroom
Yep,
quite
that's
yet,
correct.
and now things have moved on. So where are you at?
I mean, it's been somewhat of a whirlwind year for us. I think when we saw you guys here this time last year, we just announced Koenigsegg London literally 2 or 3 weeks before coming to this show. This obviously was an important show for us to be at because it's a fantastic event in the heart of the capital, where we were eventually going to end up opening a showroom. And then I'm really pleased to report that actually earlier this year, beginning of this year, we opened up the doors at Kensington High Street for Koenigsegg London to open up. We're actually busier now, even though we've got the facility open up in Kensington, we're actually busier now than we ever have been with, you know, we're obviously coming into that summer season of events, but we've got a number of factory tours booked for prospective clients and clients who are in waiting list, if you want to call it that, to go out and spec the car. So yeah, it's busy, but we wouldn't have it any other way.